Hello and welcome. This is Fredero, and you're watching the 18th episode of Santa Filomena. So, after getting back to the series following a 2 month break, I'm starting little by little to get my hands back on it properly and getting used to the old habits that I developed while building this series. This city, sorry, and making this series by the same occasion. So in this episode, I mainly tried to place some unique buildings that I got from the workshop. I also managed to see how the new free update is working because in the previous episode, this had not been released already, so it's the first episode that I recorded, and I was able to use the features. Maybe I should check again some videos on YouTube to see the full list of features or stuff, new stuff that we can do or we can use, because the one that grabbed my attention the most was the one where you can place in pretty much any kind of trees you want alongside the roads. So that's the one I mainly wanted to try first, and then I'll see for the others if there are some uh, other exciting ones to use. I've been kind of caught up, as you can see at the moment, on this intersection right in the city center. I don't know why the terrain was acting up like that. So I tried different ways to make some new connections, because in any case, I was working and changing quite a big parts of the new White Lane district to improve and develop the monorail system, and to make it more of to make the district more of a grid kind of layout, because we are like pretty close to the city center in this district, and the having curvy roads there doesn't really make sense, especially now that the population is developing and that the density is getting quite high. You want to maximize the space as much as possible, and so to accommodate high densities, a grid, in my opinion, usually is the best way to go. Then I remember that each episode I buy a new tile, and that's what I did. And this came by the opposite islands this time around, because obviously we bought most of the tiles now for the main city center, and little by little we're going to start focusing on developing Santa Filomena on some more, let's say, rural or less dense part, like this one, for example, and but on the opposite side of the archipelago. And so you'll see me installing for the first time some cable cars over there as well. I wanted to try this form of transportation for a while now, and I thought this was the best occasion to finally launch this. I also had a look uh, at the buses as well. Spent quite some time on transportation in this episode actually, and so the buses I found out maybe throughout the changes that happened in the past episodes that there was no bus lines anymore between the main center and the big industrial quarter in the sandy kind of like terrain sandy district. So I had to recreate this, and because obviously the White Lane district, the new White Lane district changed so much, I had to check again if this didn't screw up with the already existing bus lines. So I don't remember if I actually managed to completely fix this. I might need to get back to it later and see what issues um, the new layout might have brought. But then remember that I all these changes are happening now, following my will to mainly develop the monorail system in the city center. Um, I think it's a more I perceive this as a more efficient way for people to move in the center of the city, and so bus lines for these parts uh, come across to me as a secondary form of public transportation. Talking about transportation, there's also a way to develop ferries as well, as you will see in a few moments. I'm expanding uh, now to the other part of the archipelago, and it's not because I've mainly wanted to use the cable cars as first public transportation to be built over there that I'm not thinking about developing ferry lines as well, because it's quite, I think it's going to be quite demanding in terms of time and focus for those ferry lines to be developed. As you can see now, I tried to place some new unique buildings, and I got this LG headquarters, but for some reason it wasn't like placing itself properly. Like some part of the buildings was covering the road, and I didn't like that at all, so I moved on to something else. Sometimes when you get things on the workshop, they don't come across as nicely or neatly in the game, and so you just well, in my case, I just don't pay that much attention, don't get too much annoyed by it, because it's already so much in the workshop. If it's not gonna be working there, I'll just move on to other buildings that I've installed or downloaded. I also noticed that there's still quite a lot of room to develop, even though most of it is going to be rural on the first part of the archipelago where we develop the city center, and it's mainly like hills and mountains. And there's a few little walls that I might want to work on later and build maybe a couple of farms or a couple of ranches, places like that. I think would look cool in the area where the mountains and the valleys are. But now back to the new area we want to focus on, and I might want to focus on in future episodes. It's the other side of the archipelago. I try to use move it. Is it yeah, move it to build the highway extension to connect it to the other side, and that that was this sorted at this specific time in the game, and then you can see me going kind of back and forth between the center and new places, but it's because the center obviously is so busy. If there's some stuff happening that require some form of emergency, you don't want to just ignore it. I've also been quite hesitant concerning the roads that I wanted to build there. Um, before I came to build the cable cars, I thought maybe I could connect somehow all these islands by road, but I thought it would kind of destroy the landscape. And because you have very big boats, like big ferries, bigger than the small lines that are passing through this area, I I eventually thought it wasn't a good idea at all to have roads connecting all these islands, and so that's when I came with the idea of developing the developing a cable car system. but obviously the cable car stations need to be connected to roads, so I had to pay attention to the way I was going to be placing them as well. Before I leave and let you enjoy the rest of the episode, I was thinking as well that I might need to get one of those modes that are called. There's a few of them, but I don't remember the exact name. Um, Something like realistic population or something like that, because I was thinking my population was growing so slowly and the figure is so low compared to the visual aspect of it. And so I know that this kind of modes, there's several of them, um, help you, well, increase your population or at least make it match the way your city looks like by counting the square footage and stuff like this. And so, because I'm installing this now, well, not right now, obviously, but I did it just after I recorded this episode. Don't be surprised if we get quite a considerable jump in the number of people living in Santa Filomena in the next episode. I'll let you now enjoy the rest of this 18th episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw, and obviously you are very welcome to make some suggestions, some district names, some buildings or some mods you would like me to get from the workshop. And I'll see you in the next episode of this nice little adventure. Bye bye.